welcome to another in-person, very special Tiny Book Club.
Yeah, man.
With, of course, I'm Claude Kelly.
And I'm Chuck Harmony.
We're Louis York. We're also the leaders of this amazing tribe and community called Tiny Book Club, and excited to have some good friends here to talk about another great book.
From day one.
Some day one. Let's go down and have everyone introduce themselves, starting on this side of the pool.
I'm Angela Grant.
I'm Gio.
Cameron Keith Walls.
Heather. Beth Raybeth Hall. Kelly Halford.
And they're all pretty damn brilliant.
Brilliant.
So, we've been meeting, all of us have met with Tiny Book Club for many, many years. This is the second time, this is like episode 2, if you will, of us meeting and filming it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was saying to someone before we jumped on that there was so much of the time that we were kind of almost like a secret society. So it's kind of fun to kind of just take our conversations and our relationships and what we learn and put it out there for people to see.
Yeah.
What we learn from these books and what we learn from our conversations.
Yeah. I'm so excited to jump into this conversation because the book that we're discussing today is called Comfort Me with Apples.
It's a beautiful cover art here.
Yeah.
Catherynn Valente. This is a book that is not very big, tiny.
100 pages, right?
Yeah, but packs a pretty big punch.
Packs a punch.
Understatement.
So how this happened was I was online getting suggestions from people on TikTok, and someone suggested it to me. I read it without any context. I had no idea what it was. I was like, let me just check it out.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing I want to get into is just the reaction to how the book develops. But I sent it to Chuck, and I was like, didn't say anything. I'm like, just read this and let me know what you think. And he called me back like, yo. And so far before we knew this was going to be a thing, we knew that we wanted to do this book because I just knew it was going to be a conversation starter.
Yeah.
So the first thing I want to ask everybody, just before we get into the details, is, was it a surprise for you? Because some books are just, they lay it all out, but some books are an actual adventure as you read them.
Mm-hmm.
And this book definitely comes with some twists and turns. What was your experience just reading the book for the first time? And did you know what you were getting into?
Mind blown.
Mind blown? Good way or bad way?
Good. I thought the authors, the way everything was set up was very different from most books that you read.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't give anything away.
Yeah.
Which I was like, when are they going to tie this all together?
Right.
But it was pretty powerful.
Very powerful by the end.
If you had to rate it 1 through 5, 1 being great, 5 being terrible.
1.
One being great. Wow.
Mm.
How did everyone else feel about the experience of reading it?
I will say, honestly, I felt it was exhaustive.
Really?
The language was exuberant at the beginning, and I was like, oh, my God, just tell me she woke up and she went down the stairs. Like, at some point, I was like, oh, my God, this explanation is beautiful. Like,
Yeah.
It was beautifully and masterfully written.
Mm-hmm.
But like I was saying earlier, sometimes I just want a simple piece of cake.
Mm.
I don't need it to be so decadent.
So it was a little bit too much purple prose for you.
Yeah, it was a little bit much. And I'm a writer and I love it, but it was just like, I think because I just came back off of a trip also, and I'm trying to recalibrate my body. Like, I literally would sit down and read this book and I was like, I'm asleep. It knocked me out. And not that it was boring, but that it was just so much language to have to,
That's deep.
to like consume.
Everything is a metaphor.
Yeah, and so my brain was like, girl, we tired. And so
I want to hear your 1 through 5.
But 1 through 5, I would probably say, because of the turn that it finally made, I would give it a 2. Yeah.
I think the way that it felt like a poem that at first, and like after about 20 pages, I was like, I can't read this for 100 pages. But the beginning of it, like what she was talking about, the language, the poetry of it, the way that she used metaphor and visual words to describe something, it, like you had to read everything twice to like fully comprehend.
Yeah.
But then it was so beautiful because it was just such an eloquent, such a unique way to like tell a story. But then I remember this feeling exactly. It was like around like 30 pages into it, I started thinking, if this entire book is this way, it's going to take me, I'm going to have to read it like twice to like fully comprehend it. And then all of a sudden that like flip happens.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I felt a change of like adrenaline while I was reading it. And all of a sudden I was like, oh yeah, now we're going somewhere. And it was like a turn that I have never experienced reading a book before. I thought it was like I mean, can you give higher than a 1? I mean, really, I thought it was absolutely incredible all the way around, like as writing.
That's awesome that you had that reaction to it. Did anyone audiobook it?
I did.
I did.
You guys, I audiobooked it too. I've read a couple of times, but the audiobook definitely changes how you experience it.
Absolutely.
What about you? You like the audiobook, Cameron?
So I am an audiobook boy
I am too.
because who got time to be reading books when we got all the stuff we got to do? So if I audiobook, I can do the other things and hear.
Right.
But yeah, I audiobooked it. Audiobooking it was a wise decision because for me, doing other things while listening makes it a lot different. And this book, as you said, was very colorful in language. So I saw the full picture as the story was being told. I felt like I was watching TV, listening to the audiobook. And so it was really descriptive. It was really, really clear for a visual. And I loved every bit of that. I definitely would give this I would give this a 1 because I'm not an avid reader. I enjoy reading if I must. But this was a story that I probably would have never chosen, but I'm glad that I experienced. So it was a serendipitous experience for me.
I love that.
Nice. I love the audiobook because it felt like it kept the pace. You know, it was a bit slow in the beginning, but it's like we were climbing the hill to keep, metaphors with the book. But, you climb and then all of a sudden there's that first like, oh, okay, now it's getting interesting. Now there's something to pay attention to. But even when she comes back into the house and she starts feverishly, searching for things and finding things, and then, that builds and builds and builds. And then we're told of the things that she finds, right? We're told of the rabbit. And I just felt like it kept the pace. And it was the rush of adrenaline, right? So I would go probably a good 2.5.
We're getting a lot of positive reviews.
It was good. Like Cameron said, it's not something I would have chosen for myself, but that's what book clubs are for, right? It's to strike the conversation and think about things in ways maybe we wouldn't. And it's funny when you read things and you're like, man, this is so relevant to things we're all going through right now. But yeah, it was a really great read.
That's really cool. Kelly, what were your initial thoughts?
So, actually, I have a note that I wrote to myself in this book that I literally said, this story is a masterpiece in emotional and linguistic gaslighting.
Ooh.
Because a person who likes words, as I was looking, I'm like, oh yeah, there's far too many of these words that are a bit triggering. And for me, the first 2 chapters already introduce a level of insanity that I'm like, how am I going to deal with whatever happens in this book? And while, yes, it is beautiful prose, beautiful meter, it's also like, if you know what you're looking at, for me, it's a little triggering.
well, it definitely overlaps a bunch of different genres, right? Like, it's fiction for sure, and it has a fairy tale element, but it's horror too. And we didn't say much going into it because I think even in the past with Tiny Book Club, the books we've done have been a little bit more like lighter or spiritual, and because we trust you all and we know that you trust us. When we talked about it, we're like, this is a little edgy, but I think everyone can handle it because the first couple of chapters are, and it goes through phases. Like I think. Tell me if you agree with me. The first couple of chapters, if you don't know what's going on, feel like Stepford Wives.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very much so.
It's it's a twisted town. You don't really know what's happening in relationships, but there's some kind of abuse happening there. There's some kind of
There's a lot of abuses.
Right. Manipulations happening, and that's a story within itself. That could have been the story, and that was the story I was actually least interested in. That's when I first started reading, I was like, we'll see where this goes. It doesn't stay there. It doesn't stay there for long.
Yeah.
It doesn't stay there for long. And then I feel like it has 3 or 4 different twists and which take you into another realm. And that the horror of it, both spiritually and literally.
Yeah.
That's what I want to know. I want to know y'all's emotional reaction to finding out that the story was about a play on the story of Adam and Eve.
Yeah, the Garden of Eden, Adam. And also, when did you figure it out?
I didn't figure it out until he said Adam. What was his name? Adam.
I would say I figured it out when he was saying, "Do you know his name?" And I was like, "It better not be Adam."
Um,
Like,
Really?
There was something about it that was like, do you even know his name? And I was like, oh my God, we have not known his name this whole time.
See, I thought, what's his name? The snake.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was the devil.
He is.
He is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I thought he was going to basically say, I'm here to take you to hell. And
That's not what he did in a way.
yeah. And I kept thinking to myself, how did this author construct such a labyrinthian sort of plot and the little snippets that are sort of in there, and what I still don't understand the names of the little segments that were used. I started catching on to the animals.
Yes.
Mrs.
That's it.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, Miss
And I
Lyon.
was like, okay. And since we read
Animal Farm. Right.
I was like, there's a conspiracy going on here. But I don't know what it is.
Something is amiss.
Right.
That was what it started putting it together for me, was the animals and how that all played into it. And then when she met and the way he was talking, and I'm like, okay, this is, and then it just all falls right into place. But it also felt like a play on, patriarchy and how
100%.
we're talking,
Toxic masculinity.
women are made for, they talk about, she keeps talking about my love and I was made for him, and she can't go against him because of something physiological inside of her. And then when you find all of this stuff out that she's made from his eye, and you saw too deeply, he said, the one that was made from his thigh ran away. Like, it was just, it makes you take a deeper look at parts of you and what those parts of us all put together do as a whole.
Yeah.
If I could say, and this is because I just know far too much mythology, I started figuring out something was very interesting when she did the tea and she went and met the music teacher, Mr. Semengelov. Because, but I also, because I know so much mythology. Like, before I got my actual degree in psychology, my original major was classical mythology. So
you knew it from the beginning.
So seeing that, I'm like, why is this name familiar? And of course, I read and research simultaneously. So I was like, okay, got it. So this is the Mesopotamian myth, and this is this. Cool, got it. Having an idea. And then I already recognized by the third chapter, I was like, oh, these chapter titles are apple flavor, or apple varieties.
Apple varieties.
Every single chapter is a variety of apple. So then I actually have sitting on my phone, on one of my AI apps, I actually did a chart of what are all of the different values, the flavor points and profiles
you went deep,
of the apples. Because what happens is,
Kelly went deep.
because here's the thing though, because if you actually look at some of the comments about what the different flavor profiles are of the apples, and then you compare it to the chapter that it's named, the flavor profiles of the apples would actually match the description of what's happening in the chapter.
Wow.
That's the genius of authors, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
But I definitively knew what was absolutely happening when I saw the name of once she ran into a garden. How do you know every single inch of a place, and then you're in a place you haven't left home, but this is unfamiliar and it's never been there before? How? And she meets in this garden that she's never known, that's near this tree that she sets up for us. That's the one tree, the one rule that they really can never break. There is no coming back from breaking this rule.
Right.
She literally says he introduces himself, and because my parents were as they were, and my father was and still is as he is, we had to watch far too many programs like National Geographic and Nature growing up.
Yes, love it.
So I knew what a cascabel was. And I'm like, oh yeah, why is this familiar? And so I'm like, that's a snake. I know it's a snake. And then I went and looked up, that's the Portuguese word for rattlesnake. I said, boom, now I know where we are, what this is. And it still goes back for me. This is linguistic and literary gaslighting. Brilliant.
But,
brilliant gaslighting.
It's brilliant because it lets you know that the author was intentional about every single detail. Like, even now, I was watching some reviews when I first read it, and they're talking about even the name, like, the name Sophia means wisdom. So she was the wise one. Eve means giver of life. So by the time you get to Eve, they finally mastered the formula. And she's the one that's just designed to stick around and produce. to me, the other genius thing is the concept of time in this book. Because once you understand what's happening, all this is taking place somewhere in the creation days. Because they're still trying to figure out the perfect woman, which means that the actual creation story, as we know, and the time taking hasn't even happened yet. So this is somewhere in those six days of creation that God is supposedly very generous with Adam and just like allowing him to experiment over and 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 over until he finds the right woman before the clock even starts to tick in the life that we now know. And so when I remember growing up and just not understanding as a kid the concept of time in the Bible and how creation could be so fast. And so it just gives you a whole different perspective of all the time that it took. Whatever that was it a day, was it however long that was, while Adam was quote unquote experimenting with all his different versions of.
But also the never-ending forgiveness, right? Like he just was able to make all the mistakes over and over and over and over again. Yeah.
Yes.
I saw a cap out on that forgiveness.
A cap out?
Yeah, there's a cap out. There's a moment where God was like, yeah, I'm not going to keep helping you. Yeah. If that's what you want to do, you're going to keep, you're going to figure it out. Because, you know, as Catherynn said, he and his father keep doing this. And then when Adam starts explaining and he says that there came a day where God was like, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, sure did.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and Adam bargained and was like, well, I'll do it. And you just, you know, do da-da-da-da-da.
Right.
And I'm like, so God is like, okay, so I'll help you make another one, but I'm not getting rid of this model anymore, because what it seemed like to me in that description is because you keep nitpicking because she's not completely within your control.
Right.
That part.
Right.
And I think we see, because that's the one character that you never really hear from is Adam's father.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That it would be interesting to see what his take would have been on it. Because it's like, yeah.
But he showed him how to do it, right? Like
Not really.
We taught him how to, and they spoke about how he taught him how to do it, and he was grossed out by it at first.
Well, he let him see it.
He let him
He
see
let him
it.
see it
He didn't
happen.
teach him how.
Well, but
He let him see it
He
happen.
saw the gore, the flesh and the blood and all that stuff, and that creeped him out.
And it grossed him out, but he still did it anyway.
Right.
What it shows to me more so is not that he's going to show you how to do it. He's going to show you the way I understand God. Let me put it that way. God will show you the horror of a thing to give you the choice. Are you going to continue to go through with this atrocity, because this is a part of yourself that you're killing each and every time?
Every time.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to keep doing this?
Now that you know what all
That you know what it takes.
Yeah.
But God never takes your choice away.
That's true.
Because
he
that was
definitely
the
made the
error.
choice to keep going.
Because that was the error with the first wife, the one that was the giant and was on his back.
Yeah.
They were Siamese. They were made
Siamese.
simultaneously.
Yeah.
Because if we really think about what perfection was with the initial form, it's no, you all simultaneous.
Yes.
And Adam didn't like it.
He didn't like that.
He was the one with the problem the whole time.
What's also interesting is the fact that before they started taking parts of Adam to make the perfect mate, he said they tried using the wind, using song, and so I wonder what all those versions were, and why Adam didn't like those versions of a mate.
Because Adam was self-centered.
Yep.
When all of this, when all of this boils down to is showing that Adam was the ultimate narcissist, and that he was actually the purpose of the fall, not Eve.
Just the truth anyway.
Which is right.
But it all boils down to, because again, each one of the versions that came, Adam saw fault with it because he was seeking himself. And then when he started using pieces of himself because nothing else was good enough in his eyes, he found fault in all of those additional pieces of himself that were outside of him. So when the rubber hit the road, it really all boils down to the fact that Adam has self-identity issues and he hated himself.
He definitely hated himself.
But he loved them, because he said, I loved all of them.
He loved the idea.
Well,
And even slept with them because it felt nice to be close to loved ones.
Yes.
Right.
So why did he hide it all? Why did he hide the trophies, which is what when you see a serial killer,
Right.
you know, they have trophies. Why do you think the author decided to put them in all these weird places and reveal it that way? That was kind of confusing to me.
So to me, even with the title being "Come For Me with Apples," it almost suggests that the original sin wasn't the eating of the fruit. The original sin actually was Adam. And so if you really think about it as we go through this, even when you get to the story that the book didn't tell, which is Adam and Eve's story, when Adam partakes of the fruit, we now acknowledge that as the moment that sin enters the world to our understanding. And we've been blaming the apple all along.
And it wasn't even an apple. What did we learn from White Meat Can't Jump? It was a quince.
That's a Jeopardy question.
No, it's also a good question, because I think what the author is trying to do, which is smart, is to challenge your idea of good versus evil, right? And this is also why I think a lot of people don't like the book who have a very strict religious opinion, because if all of creation was trying to hint at Sophia, was what the serpent was saying. He's like, they were trying to help you. They left the hair in the brush to let you know.
Yeah.
So all of creation was trying to help Eve, right? And even at some point, technically, the serpent himself is like, I'm trying to give you the warning. Then who actually is the bad guy? Can the serpent, as we see the serpent in history, be the bad guy if it's actually the ally? If the serpent is the person that's finally telling the truth to Sophia, right? And saying, hey, not just me, but all your friends, all the animals that have been named have been trying to give you hints without getting in trouble, without pissing off God, that you need to run and get out of here. Then who's the bad guy? Is it Adam and God, or is it the serpent and everybody else? That's the blurring of the lines that I thought was interesting, and why I think people are offended by it, because the absolute to Christianity immediately is that
The serpent.
the serpent is bad, God is the light, and he's the temptress that made you. The apple is bad, but this way, there's not. The author's not saying the apple is bad or good. He's saying it's up to you to decide.
Mm-hmm.
Which, oddly enough, though, that's actually what Scripture tells you, is that the serpent presented Eve with the choice.
With the choice.
But she didn't have all of the information. Adam had all of the information.
What information didn't she have?
Even biblically. The direct instruction was from God to Adam. Of the tree, of any of the trees in the garden you can eat, but of the fruit of the tree that is in the midst of the garden, thou shalt not eat. For in the day that you eat of it, you shall surely die. That was an instruction given to Adam. Then he puts Adam to sleep, creates Eve, and Eve's up. When we get to that day and the serpent approaches, just remember this. One of the things that's always essential is the serpent addresses Eve, but Adam is right here.
Standing right there.
She's standing there. She doesn't have to go back and tell him to eat. She turned to her husband. Actually, the language says she's turned to her husband with her. He was there. Yeah. And he let this joke. Now, how many we got? Y'all forget. How many of y'all would let some other dude, some smooth talking cat, come up and talk to your woman while you're right there? And feed her.
Oh, I didn't know Adam was right there.
Yeah. He was right there.
What kind of simp foolishness is that, Adam?
Exactly. And that's the reason why when the curses happen, the curse is actually worse on Adam. Because what the text says that God says to Adam is, hey, so because you didn't protect her and you were derelict in your duty and you tried to blame me for it. Cursed is the ground. It'll grow thistles and thorns for you for the rest of your life, and you're still gonna have to get food from it. And you're punished with having to be in charge. And she's not going to listen, because the facts were women were made not to have to be bossed that way. They're partners. Why? So let's go back to Sophia meaning wisdom. When we shoot forward in Bible to Proverbs, wisdom is the principal thing. And this is what the wise person learned from God. Wisdom is the principal thing. Get wisdom, and then in all thy getting, get understanding. So if wisdom is the principal thing, isn't it very interesting that in this text, in this book,
Sophia, who's wisdom?
Sophia is wisdom, and he still chooses to kill her.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, and then also keep in mind that
because wisdom asks too many questions.
And also,
absolutely. Curiosity.
Also keep in mind too that he and Casabel were familiar with each other.
Oh yeah, Casper says like I've known him for years.
Yeah.
So the whole thing is he had his own rapport with him that we still have never known. But when we get to the creation story as we know it with the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve are there together at that point. So that's the first time from this narrative that we see Adam with the woman as she meets the serpent.
And because we know what happens in the actual Bible, the story that we get, the Eve that comes next is the woman that convinces him to eat the apple. Because remember, he won't. She makes the pie and he kicks the pie away. So whatever that rib is about, he was.
It was close to the heart.
He was in it.
It's the rib that, if you actually look at the male anatomy, it would be the rib. The rib that's missing is where it's easiest to take a knife and stab a guy and kill him.
Really?
That's the gap in men's biology, in your bodies, in the way you guys are made.
I have a gap, Lord.
Yeah. So it's
I have a gap?
Eve was taken from the rib that is meant to protect your heart, and that's how she
crazy.
If you take
That's
this,
crazy.
I did not know that.
How she could actually convince him, because she was the piece of his. She was the
piece of his heart.
not the piece of his heart. The
Protector of his heart.
Wow.
So the eye didn't work, the thigh didn't work.
The heart itself didn't work.
The heart didn't work, but the protection of the heart. So she just opened the gate. Like, go ahead.
And then let's go back to Proverbs. Let's go back to Proverbs. There's another scripture in the book of Proverbs that literally says that it is to guard your heart, for from it flow the issues of life. Now, if the job of that rib was to guard the heart, what that means is without the right partner, a man's heart is left unguarded, and he's going to do whatever he wants to do.
Yeah.
And there's nothing to check him.
Man.
That's deep.
There's just a lot of stuff to this book. Can we, for a second, talk about, or rather go down the rabbit hole of Lilith?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Because that was where I did my homework. Because obviously, when the name I knew, and I was saying to Kelly, I was like, "Well, I know the Lilith Fair tour. I know it's about women empowerment, but Lilith was the one that got away." And if you start to do your homework on Lilith, like, she is historically, mythologically, the representation of the rebel woman, which is either seen as positive or negative depending on who you talk to. But the fact that she was acknowledged from everybody, from the devil, from Adam, he's like, she's out there. I couldn't catch her. I just want to open the floor on that, because Lilith is that's a powerful extra element to this whole story, and to the whole that also doesn't get talked about when we get taught the creation story in general.
Yeah.
Well,
I was going to say she's also revered historically as the mother of monsters.
The mother of monsters.
The mother of monsters. So if you go into mythology and start looking up details on Lilith, Lilith is where you start seeing, in the Book of Enoch, they talk about the Nephilim. You do see Lilith's story in the Book of Enoch. So a lot of people don't read that book because they don't know about it. But the Book of Enoch, that story of Lilith is actually there. Also, the Nephilim being the children of the fallen angels. All of that is actually in that text. But then Lilith is also in vampire lore.
Yes.
The mother of vampires.
Mother of vampires.
So it's believed that all of the sons and daughters of the dark children of the earth are the byproducts of Lilith.
But it would make sense that the woman that got away, that potentially mess up the narrative, would be demonized and called the mother of dragons, basically.
but you know part of the reason, right? What the issue was between she and Adam.
Break it down.
One, the as the mythology goes, the issue is that she would not be submissive.
Right.
Yeah.
Because she said, so if we actually take the real mythology, Lilith really would have been the one that was made the same time as it. And so
she was the original pair?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
The way the Mesopotamians thought of it.
Yes.
She was the original woman, he was the original man. They were made at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So they both received the directive, be fruitful, fill and subdue. Fill and subdue, be fruitful and multiply. They received the same directive. They received the same instruction. He wanted her to submit and do what he said. She said, no, we're the same age, bruh. No, I don't just have to because I'm female. That doesn't make sense. And then when it was time to bear children, for whatever reason, Lilith and Adam could not procreate with each other. And so she also is the mythology of they believe that Lilith would visit a woman when she miscarried. That was the issue. Like, she was a baby snatcher, stealing children, turning children, infants, into monsters, those sorts of things. Because not only was she angry because she was really like, hey, what did I do to even be cast away? I didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
So that's really like the deeper parts of that Lilith lore is, she's like, I wasn't even really wrong for what I did.
Yeah.
Now, there was a question.
They talk about the babies.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Sophia was like,
What are babies?
Yeah.
right. And so they talk about this baby not being there. And so now that makes sense going back to what you were saying about Lilith.
And there was a question that I had because he told Sophia that after the other women spoke to Casabel, they had children.
Yes, he said some of them had children with Casabel.
So I thought that was intriguing as well, that was brought up, because we all know that Lilith was the only one that got away. But where these other kids at?
Right.
Where,
The Nephilim, the giants.
so explain.
Who they are.
Yeah.
So
please.
in scripture, in the Bible, it talks about a race of people when the sons of God, those that had gotten cast away, they came down and they were here on earth and they copulated with the daughters of men, humans, and they created a race of people that were giants. That's who Goliath would have been descended from. So they were taller, much bigger than anybody else should be, because they're basically
All of the ites.
spiritual beings. They're basically demigods.
Demigods, yeah.
So all of the Amalekites and the Hittites and
All the ites.
Amalekites.
Amorites.
all the ites in the Bible were those people.
And Ammonites.
And also from the standpoint of mythology as well, it's believed that many of the Hindu gods were also these characters in Nephilim.
Interesting.
So that's why they had heads and body functions of beasts, but still had likeness of men.
Man, yeah.
So what do you think would have happened? This is just an imaginary question. Had Sophia gotten Adam to eat the apple, what happens if Adam eats the apple prematurely, basically, with the wrong partner? Because he came pretty close. He almost ate that apple pie.
It felt like he knew that something was up.
He knew.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been through this cycle.
Yeah.
He knows they're all trying to get him to eat the apple once they talk to the snake.
Which is how we know that once he does eat it which is how we could say that once he does get to Eve, he ate the apple intentionally.
Intentionally.
Yeah.
He decided it was time. This is the right motto.
So does he know what's going to happen? I guess is like an interesting question.
Well,
he knows that he's gonna kill Sophia, and he knows he's just gonna make a new one.
But I think by the time I think he was looking for the one that would make sense.
Like, yeah, once
to
he decides to, does he know what's going
to procreate with? Like he wasn't going. They weren't going to start the history of mankind until him and God basically decided that we have the perfect Barbie, basically.
And once he found out that they had spoken to the serpent and figured out what was going on, they had to go.
Keep him. So Eve must have been the one that didn't end up.
The one that didn't get curious.
She didn't get to have a private conversation with him.
She didn't get curious enough.
But that also makes me wonder, at that point, did Adam commit suicide? Because if you think about the fact that Adam is aware of this cycle, Adam knows that the day he eats of this fruit, he shall surely die. Adam has historically killed every woman that's had a conversation with the serpent, but this time he went with the woman to have a conversation with the serpent, and then he voluntarily ate of the fruit. Did he commit suicide?
In a way. He knew what would happen.
In a way, and also to that same point, that's why I don't also feel like it's just like necessarily a book that goes either feminist or the other side either, because what it's saying is that the flaws of mankind essentially worked itself together to create the situation we're in right now. Because in order for you to have now, you'd have to have an Eve who was the most gullible of the kinds of women that they went through. So it's not necessarily a feather in the cap of men or women by the time you get to the end anyway. Like, Adam is definitely an asshole, for sure. But by the time you get to Eve, the actual Eve, the one what that means is that they've perfected, they've gotten out all of the rebellious traits of women, and they said, okay, now this is what women should be like. Or
does it? Or does it just mean that Adam learned a lesson not to leave her alone by herself? Because he may have just been staying home more.
Maybe he learned to be a lot more abusive and protective.
If you're more present, this happens.
They can't get
less.
to the garden.
There you
Exactly.
go.
You just said something interesting. You said Adam is an asshole, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what they're trying to say.
So if Adam is the asshole and the first man, why do you? I mean, and nobody really knows, but why do you think God would make the first man an asshole?
Are you
I would say this interpretation of him
suggesting
as
that
an
God is an
asshole.
ass?
I'm just asking the
Because they
question.
say he's made in his image, right?
Well, yeah, but
From this author's perspective.
From this author's
that's what I'm
perspective.
saying. From this author's perspective, I wouldn't even necessarily say that I think that he's that. I think he's seriously disturbed more than he realizes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the separation between he and the first partner, who is unnamed, but the one who literally the house was built for.
Mm-hmm.
She left. There's two that got away. Lilith got away, but so did that one.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's scarred. He's never really gotten over the loss of his first love.
I was gonna say he's grieving. Yeah.
He's been grieving,
Yeah.
and he's been trying
Definitely.
to reclaim.
And sometimes grievers are assholes.
Right.
And also psychopaths and killers, right? I mean, there's the horror of it, but when you dig, what's the original thing what's making you be
Trauma.
this way? The trauma, right? Because the reason he's holding on to a finger bone and all stuff is because he won't let go. Like there's some kind of trauma there, but he won't let go.
But I think it's also difficult too because, again, we're the byproduct of hundreds of generations from Adam. I could not imagine being made in the image of a being that I cannot match. You know, there has to be some kind of, and it's just because of the human experience, there has to be some kind of complication in knowing that I look like you, but I can't do you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that even when we look at this story, we see Adam with the women trying to be what the father was to him while not being adequately able to do that. And so he didn't have the capacity to do what the father does for him.
That's right.
And then the torture of and it's a question too, but what do you think of the idea that the Garden of Eden was positioned as a gated community? So to some extent, you know what I mean? Like the whole idea was that they were part of this
Extensive HOA.
Extensive HOA. The HOA is kind of God, right? It's like it's just looking down and dropping rules on you. But then there's that what happens to animals and to creatures when you put them in this zoo.
Can we talk about how shady they was though?
They were shady.
Baby,
The
Mr.
neighbors
Lion was a hater.
The play was the worst.
That
Yeah, I
was
was
the
just
worst
going to
play.
bring up
Let's
the
talk about
play.
the play.
I'm like, you take,
That was
what the
That
hell?
That
you
was
know?
disrespectful.
that was what
Well, I
I
want to go to the pantomime tonight. Well, why is it a pantomime and not
A show,
play?
right.
Like they're talking about it. And what's his face? The music guy's like, I've already seen it, you know. I'm like, okay, no Ticketmaster here. And it's kind of peculiar. And then the heron breaks the window.
Mm-hmm.
So who is the heron in all of this?
I always felt like that was Semenjalov because it's a harbinger.
Oh,
Herons are like harbinger. They bring messages.
Semenjalov, that was the musician, right?
yeah. So he's multiple characters in
Well-
different forms, right?
Because the thing is, at the end of it, in the lore, Semenjalov is also, like in the mythology, Semenjalov is also an angel. So basically, Cascavel and Semenjalov are divine beings, which means that they can shift shapes.
I was gonna say she said that the heron looked like Smingela.
Yep.
And that's
She
why I like it,
recognizes
because
it.
it
Yeah.
is.
Right.
I really resonated with the part of the story that she's so confused. Why would my love? Why am I attracted to this man? Why does this feel different with this man? I'm not even supposed to think about this. She was so confused.
Which means she was kind of aware the whole time.
She was aware the whole time, and she was seeing, right? She came from the eye, so she was seeing things differently. And I think a lot of people these days are going through kind of an awakening, so to speak, and looking at things differently of, oh, these are the things that I've loved and the people that I've loved my entire life, but now I have to look at them in a different light. And man, I really have to grieve the loss of what I thought was reality, right? Like everything's supposed to be perfect here. What is wrong with me? Why am I the one that is changing and making things different now? And she really went through a transformation, I think, inside of herself to even, he begged her, I beg you women not to eat this apple. Please don't eat this apple. And she ate it anyway because she still he was her love, right?
That's kind of the existential crisis in itself, right? Because like the question is normally that how I've been taught is that eating an apple means that it in itself is a sin and leads to bad things. But but in this case, it was an awakening for her. She was torn about what to do after she knew. She was like, should I just kind of pretend I don't know, or should I tell him it's okay? I'll be nice. I'll be kind. Please don't kill me. But the apple was a revelation.
And she was counting the number of times she lied that day.
Right.
She was very conflicted with, why did I lie?
Right.
Yeah,
I'm aware
right.
of people around you, and then you're in on the game. Essentially.
But what if I tell you that she had eaten the apple before she ate the apple?
Right.
Eating the apple was not a thing that she actually needed to do. It was just a thing that that was a requisite for the symbolic rule breaking. She had already eaten the apple because she was thinking.
Yeah, exactly.
And she had already eaten the
That
apple
was
after
the
the
turning
festival.
point.
Right. She was thinking and she was questioning. But those apples were the apples that were okay to eat.
Mm-hmm.
She was thinking and she was questioning, and
that's the problem.
apple.
And
So,
eating it was acceptance.
I say that because this is interesting. This is weird. Years ago, it had to be like 20-something years ago, I think. You know, when somebody was still doing those woman thou art, conferences. One time he actually had a sermon came out from those.
A certain somebody.
But a sermon came out from one of those, and one of the things that he talked about, he said the danger was not in the fruit itself, it's what the fruit represents.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
and he was talking about how sometimes you just have to get comfortable with not knowing.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things about humanity is we don't like to not know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Are you coming to such and such? Well, who all gonna be over there? You know, we don't want to go to an event at a friend's house unless we know who's all gonna be there. Yeah. We don't want to do this unless we don't even bet on ourselves. We don't take chances even on ourselves unless we know what the outcome is going to be. Yeah. So she wanted to know the secret knowledge that she didn't know. Mm-hmm. And sometimes this is, hey, what you don't know can't hurt you. Yeah. But if you insist on knowing,
you have to accept the pain.
You have to accept the consequence that comes with having that information. Yeah. No matter how much you want it to be different.
Because it changes belief.
It doesn't change.
And Cascaval even says that. Yeah. I love lies. Because sometimes the truth is harder than a lie. Mm-hmm. Right? And so
easier to live with that.
Not even worry about a lie. Sometimes it's just, you know what? I don't know and I don't want to.
Exactly. I'm doing what I know.
Ignorance is bliss.
Ignorance is bliss. Yeah. Indeed.
Can be.
And then I love the tying factor of, are you happy? Like everybody asking her if she's happy. She's like, why does everybody keep asking me?
Yeah, why is everyone worried about me?
Exactly, because we know you're not happy. Like we know the answer, but she doesn't know because she's born with the inability to be dissatisfied.
Well, that's the part that kind of reminded me of a few things. I said Stepford Wives, but it also gave me Truman Show vibes. Because everyone else knows that you're the subject. And that you're kind of the person on camera the whole time. All the different characters are like, are you happy? I hope she's happy. And then when she starts to click, she's like, why is everyone worried about me?
Right.
Am I on camera? Like, is it? And I guess actually everyone's waiting on you or hoping that you'll wake up and realize it.
You are the key.
Well, it makes you wonder if they're all looking for the corruption of free will.
I do believe that.
Because, that's the one thing you always hear, where you always have your own free will. God's not going to make that decision for you. You have free will. So I think all those tests of the Mrs. So-and-sos at the tea party and at the play or the pantomime, to your point, they kept asking, are you okay? Are you okay? Well, who's the puppeteer that's doing that all with them? Is it Adam? Is it Cascavel? Is it father? And because everybody's being manipulated by somebody.
Yeah.
And you have to wonder, okay, well then is this, to your point, the yin and the yang of good and evil?
Yeah.
Is it, because if you go back into the Kabbalah, which is where the tree of life came from, and you go back to the ancient, like the Emerald tablets and all of those different beliefs, it puts a different spin on things. And if you look and read through like the Nag Hammadi texts and the Gnostic Gospels, you will find little elements that are also in this book that they don't really want you to know.
Sheesh.
I think also because like I keep emphasizing how shady the animals were.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with you because if the woman breaks the rules of the HOA, they all get free from the HOA.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
It was self-serving.
so it seemed as though they all wanted her, like, please do it.
Please figure it out.
And if you do
We're
it,
hinting the whole time.
and if you do it and you survive, we're all out of here.
Yeah.
It was like
But
the taste of
there's also a
biscuit,
suggestion there must be some punishment from who again? Is it God or Cascador? If they break code and just say, listen, run like no one was able to just pull her aside except for the serpent and say, here's the real deal. So there must be some punishment that's unspoken to us at least that is keeping everyone in line enough where they're dropping hints but they're not telling her the whole thing. I think it was also a deliberate choice by the author, and a smart one too, to purposely not have God be a character because it's too easy to explain everything away.
Yeah.
Well, I just said so, or it's because I said so. I'm the father to do what I say. It leaves it for all of us to kind of battle about time and role and who's important and equality, which is what we're still debating about right now, and the challenge and even the challenge of thinking being attacked, because that's a lot of what's happening right now. Is not just it's not even about a side. It's just the attacking on free thought and thinking and knowledge.
Or dumbing down.
Or the dumbing down, the confusion of knowledge and access to it.
And you know what I just realized in this moment with you saying that? Miss Lion, the shadiest of all. She didn't get to be the Queen of Beasts until the fall.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was probably what she wanted the whole time.
And so and she was looking at Sophia in envy the whole time. And so it's like once woman fell, which it wasn't Sophia, it was Eve, but once woman fell, now she's the Queen of Beasts.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, the
That's
fall of
sneaky
man
lying.
caused man to forfeit the seat of being the crown of creation and in charge of it all. So before then, the terror of humanity was upon all beasts. So they see us coming and they turn and go the other way. But then after the fall, I'm not scared of you.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why Chihuahua thinks that it's head.
They always want to smoke.
For all sorts of
Always.
importance.
But Adam started getting, mad, and that's when she noticed, when it became aware to him that people were trying to help her, that they were trying to help her see.
Picking up on it.
And that's when he started getting mad with her, and she said, "Oh, he's never been upset with me before. Like, what is happening?" Still more of her confusion. But you were, talking about who was punishing. Well, it seems like Adam, the Adam character in the writing, was the one who was angry that everybody knew that he was going to murder her. Like, everybody was in on it except for her. But like you said, they couldn't actually come out. And even when they're doing the dancing and feeding her and all of that, and they say, "Oh, do you understand?" And she's like, "No, I don't understand."
Yeah.
I think he was mad at his father, too, for letting her get that far. Okay, you made her, but she's not supposed to have any of this. We talked about this. So it's kind of like, this did not come off the assembly line. This is a glitch here.
That's it.
And I
You
think,
did this intentionally.
What did you do with her coding that's wrong?
Right.
And it's
And
like,
so-
it's your coding. It's
Yep.
you. You're the
You're the
problem.
problem. You keep, yeah.
Sorry.
If you were Sophia, what would you have done differently
Oh,
in the story?
I don't know. I can't
What
imagine.
decision would you have made differently?
Was there a point that she went near the front, near the gate?
Yeah.
I would have walked out the gate and never come back.
yeah, walked into the sand.
I would have just gone out.
I think she was also very naive in how she thought he was gonna just eat a piece of pie.
Right.
When she knew at this point that he's done this many times before, like that, you would have to be a lot more cunning with getting apples down his throat than just here's a nice piece of pie.
But she didn't know the dynamic until he told her, though.
But I feel like the snake told her enough for her to know that
Well,
she was in.
What I didn't understand is why did she keep lying? Even when the beast had broke the window, why did she lie about that?
She didn't even know why she lied.
I don't
It
think
just,
she knew why
it
she
just
lied.
felt like
Yeah.
the thing to do. It was
That's
confusion.
all you can
It's just like when
Adam was
so
already lying.
it's just like when a toddler tells their first lie. usually it's related to potty training, but anyway.
Sushi potty training.
But anyway, they do it. You don't have to teach people how to lie. It's kind of
Interesting.
embedded in the code.
Wait a minute.
That's
Hold
crazy.
on.
You
Hold
don't have
on.
to teach
hold
people
on.
how to lie.
I never really thought about that because that means that lying is instinctual
Yeah.
as a form of protection or survival.
Correct.
Survival.
Think about
And
it,
that's
Adam
why
had
she
been
didn't
lying.
tell. That's why she started lying to survive.
So the lying automatically comes even in Eden, in pre-Eden, right?
Yeah.
Arcadia.
Arcadia.
And
Arcadia
Arcadia.
Guardians.
Because
Yeah.
Adam was lying every time a new woman showed up.
He was. Concealing the truth is also lying.
But it's just so funny because the way you're taught the order of the Bible, right? Just taking myself back to a young vacation Bible school, Sunday school level. There's the creation, there's Adam and Eve. Of course, you get your Cain and Abel, but then it's the Ten Commandments where you have to really get the introduction of lying as a crime, stealing as a crime. You don't think of lying as being almost like embedded in the creation itself.
Yeah, your tendency to do that, because the tendency of humanity is self-protection.
Right.
I'm naturally inclined to protect myself,
But by any means.
and it also depends on, for me, because I would say this, it depends on what kind of person are you. Are you predator or are you prey?
Yeah.
Because prey is inclined to protect itself a completely different way than predator.
And then to that point, you said your parents made you watch nature documentaries. Same here, and you have to also factor in that a big part of survival, hunting, mating, has to do with deception,
Yep.
Yeah.
like camouflage. And I have an eyeball over here, but you're really over here, and my back looks different than all that kind of stuff.
I look like this tree bark.
I look like this tree
And
bark.
I'm a whole
I look
moth.
bigger than I really am.
But also, let's keep in mind that this story is written from the perspective of a post-Eden mentality. So, so we're ascribing an idea to a circumstance that
Happens
through our
after.
lens
Right.
of the circumstance of Eden.
Mm-hmm.
So Arcadia is our
Interpretation.
perception of what that would look like.
Because the other thing is, you never actually hear the first lie told until after they've already fallen.
Okay.
In the biblical
Yeah.
narrative,
Well,
you never hear. The
from
first
man.
lie doesn't
Alarm.
happen.
Somebody's
The
alarm
first
is
lie
going off
from
right
man
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
does not happen until until God comes down to walk among them, and God says, "Where are you?"
Mm.
And Adam says, "Well, I'm over here." And he says, "So why did you hide?" And Adam says, "Because I was naked." And
told you
he
that?
said, "Well, who told you you were naked?"
Who told you you were naked?
And he doesn't give him an answer. He says, "Did you eat of the tree?" And the first thing that Adam does is self-preservation. He says, "The woman that you gave me told me to eat."
Yeah.
Yep.
He's like, "See, I told you. You should let me keep
Bad
living."
news.
And see, my argument has always been that the original sin was not the eating of the fruit. The original sin was the fact that they believed the lie told by the serpent that they would be like God if they did eat the fruit. But they were already like God, and God had already explained that to them. So,
And that's definitely, in my opinion, this is my humble opinion, I think that humanity's ultimate weakness and danger even now is that obsession with literally playing God. It's like, that overrides all of our common sense. It's being in his image and literally trying to build, to be the creator, which is what leads to war and fights and jealousy, and the greed of it all is just trying to play God.
and trying to prove that we are like God when we already are.
We're going to prove nothing to compete about.
I mean, honestly, that's actually what the sin of the Tower of Babel was.
Well, we have some history buffs here, and we have some Bible buffs here. So the low hanging fruit is that it's a story about the Garden of Eden. There's an apple that we all know about, so we get the whole apple imagery. But actually, "Come for me with apples" is a phrase from Song of Solomon, which is much later in the Bible, which is kind of the most racy, romantic, sexual book in the Bible.
Yeah.
So it suggests that this entire story is a love song, attempting a spell, if you will. So I was curious to know if anyone else caught that and what your interpretation of that, because the title comes from literally the most tempting book in the Bible.
Something that I heard earlier this year that has really stuck with me, it was really profound. Someone said that we are the only species in which, for us to survive, women have to be attracted to their natural predator. And I think in this book, with Adam killing wife after wife after wife after wife because she wasn't what he wanted, that kind of was something that stuck with me, right? Because it's like, wow, so these women were made for him, had to continually be attracted to him. At some point, he is their natural predator. And so, just talking about the racy side of things, that it's, something to think about, that
It's actually like a twisted kink.
Right.
I mean, even when you were asking earlier about why was he hiding the body parts in the house and kind of building the house essentially of body parts.
Mm-hmm.
There is a twisted fetish. It's a sexual thing too, because even when he told her, he's like, "Don't worry, when he's saying that to Sophie at the end, he's like, I'll come visit you, basically, like whatever part, maybe your eyeball will be down there."
Sexual sadist.
Yeah, he's just like, you'll be in that room with all my women, all my body part people, and he's kind of getting off on that, like that room, because what the serpent gives her is the key,
right,
to his Pandora's box, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a big statement about him, and that it's basically he doesn't have to play by the rules. We all are seeing an exposure in our society today of people who thought they could get away with X, Y, and Z thing, and they didn't have, the rules didn't apply to them. And so, you get the sense that he just sort of makes up whatever he wants to believe. And if he wants to create her that way or this way, it's kind of like you said, the cat and mouse. Well, I've kept you around long enough, and, maybe I'll do this with the next one. But he still has to answer to his father, who is supposed to be the supreme almighty.
The father's still pretty lenient.
Right.
Like you said, kind of a shady figure.
Yeah. It is right now.
Mm-hmm.
He's getting away with a lot.
Mm-hmm.
A lot.
And that's why I'm saying that it's interesting, because within the context of Arcadia Gardens, he shouldn't be able to do certain things.
Yeah.
And yet he can just disappear. He doesn't have to come home at night. Well, where the hell is he if he's not home at night? You're supposed to be in by dark.
Mm-hmm.
And they've said there are patrolling guards around. So where does he go?
That's a good question. Where are you?
Outside the gates, he's someplace else.
Looking for Lilith?
He beyond the gates.
Not Beyond the
He
Gates.
has to leave.
He's on the
Y'all watch Beyond the Gates?
I haven't seen it. Yeah.
I love Beyond the Gates.
He's got friends on the other side.
He's going to some secret club that nobody knows about.
But that's that was my question, is that if they're suggesting that the Garden of Eden is this gated community, to me it also suggests that there's a whole nother existence beyond the garden that he's clearly going to, that goes beyond our understanding of the creation story as we've been told, that maybe I'm sure other undocumented.
But she said, in the book, she said when he would come home, he would smell like the animal.
Yeah. Right. And then you also, in part of their conversation, his job is naming.
He's naming.
Right.
Yeah, he's naming.
He's just out there adventuring.
So he out there doing that too.
Exploring.
And God only knows what naming things entails.
There's a lot of things. There's a lot of things to name.
Adam nasty, but
It's a lot of things.
he was naming them all
Baby,
right.
he was naming them all right. And they was naming
To his
them daddy.
liking.
So I wonder what Adam's ultimate like punishment is, and what does that mean?
He's stuck with himself forever.
Because is that his punishment is?
That's what I believe it is, because every time, again, he keeps getting these new loves, which is him, and then he keeps losing these loves, which is him, only to desire to have another new love that's still him.
So he's never satisfied.
Right.
I would say like if there's to be a curse
And
of
my
man,
new statement
of
every
manhood,
time that
it's the never being satisfied.
The personification of when doves cry.
It is.
Right.
It
all
all
leads back to my
Everything links
The
back to
only
Prince.
thing I would say about Adam is the one thing that I think he's getting demonized for is searching for perfection. And in a place like Arcadia Gardens, perfection is what it is. Like, so why wouldn't you, if everything else is perfect, why wouldn't you be searching
He said that.
for perfection?
He's like, everyone else has a perfect mate. He's like, why shouldn't I have a? If I'm made in your image and I'm your son, why wouldn't I have a perfect mate?
He did.
And that's why I'm like, I feel like that conversation would have been very interesting. Of like, you had her and you wanted her cut off your back because you wanted to look at her.
Man, there's so
She
many lessons
always
here.
had your back. The chick that had your back and didn't want
But is that perfection if you
Holding
don't
down,
want
bruh.
her? Is it perfection if you don't want her?
he wanted her a certain kind of way, and I don't think it was that he didn't. I don't think she was the problem. The problem was he wanted her a certain kind of way.
He wanted himself.
We always think that we're never satisfied within ourselves. I think we always, nobody's our worst critic than us, right? And so we're always searching for, well, I got this and this is great. Well, now it's not so great and I have to find something like it could be better, right? So we're always searching for an improvement, and a lot of times we're not taking and having gratitude for the things that we have that are taking care of us and are good for us, and instead we search for other things that we think will be better for us.
I got a question though. So he said I used to be a giant. Why do y'all think he's no longer a giant?
Because every time you chip away at yourself to make
Valid.
somebody else,
Yep.
you get smaller. You
Valid.
diminish yourself.
Yeah.
Preach, Kelly. Give a little bit of that thigh.
Correct.
Right.
Little piece of
A
high.
little piece of butt cheek.
Little sliver of the heart.
Sliver of heart, little
Yeah.
earlobe, and now
Yeah.
you're
Wait a minute.
little
Remember,
more.
she said she found a spleen.
Yeah.
Out of a
Yeah.
spleen.
Yes.
Or the liver. Like, you're doing a lot.
Yeah.
You keep chipping away at you.
Valid.
I mean, that's just something. It's such a good parable, right? The downside to chasing perfection
Yeah.
and chipping away yourself to make others to make room for other people, and how that makes you smaller.
You know, TLC says so damn unpretty.
You feel pretty too.
It did.
But that message continues to follow the narrative of searching for perfection, because if we're supposed to be made and created in the image of God, and we're a fractal part of God,
That's
and
it,
we
that's
all
it.
have the divine within us, which is supposed to be perfect, how did this narrative get carried forward, And how did the animals get it?
That's a good question, because and it's not direct in this book, but this is what I took from the book as well, is the manipulation of the creation story itself as a patriarchy. I mean, there's lots of books and stories and hidden scrolls and things that were edited out of the Bible that explain equality different and the role of women in the Bible and how it's been skewed. But to your point, this story suggests that there was a manipulation from the beginning of how the world was to receive man and woman, and it was messed up from it was set up from the beginning. But you know that also when you know how the Bible itself was edited and how it's been taught to all of us, whether you know better or not. It was set up for there to be certain rules in place for control, for fear, for to compartmentalize, for punishment, for shame, for lots of things that ends up being kind of your lifelong battle to get over.
Used to justify a lot of things because people don't know. Well, to give you a hint into like the conversation Cameron and I were having about the book, and just in general the random conversations that Cameron and I might
All the
have
time.
for on the phone at
Daily.
2:00 in the morning for no reason. Anyway,
Maybe.
Daily.
like we were sitting there and I said, what people don't realize, and I have a friend who is a Messianic Jew, is that a lot of people, we've been taught historically to view the story about the garden as like a highlight. Just we zoomed in on day 6, but that's not necessarily how Jews were taught. There's at least 2 different creation stories, and what we see in chapter 1 is a separate creation story from chapter 2. So Adam and Eve is a specific creation story for a specific man and a specific woman that were specifically called.
Okay.
And then the word Adam is both singular and plural. Adam is a name, but Adam also means this.
Yeah.
So when you look at the 6 days are the 6 eras of creation.
Right.
And if you look at that, and we get to day 6, God says, "Let us make man in our image," and so He makes man in his image, male and female. So He does it at the same time.
Yeah.
And then He, like I said, gives them the instruction. That's a set of people that are completely different than what you get, because once Adam and Eve start having children, they have children. And those children marry other people that aren't their siblings.
Right.
And those children have, they reproduce, and there's other people on the earth. So you have to know that these two weren't the only two. So there's people outside of the gate. These people that are inside of the gate, they're unique inside the city. But it's so important to protect certain aspects that even once we get to the fall, He puts 2 guards there to protect the tree with flaming swords. There's guards at every corner to protect the tree so that nobody can get to it. Now, there's all that whole story about they're thinking that there's this particular tree that literally grows in the middle of the desert in the Middle East. And everybody's like, we don't even know where the water supply for this tree comes from. We're not even sure how it's flourishing. But people think that that's actually the tree of the knowledge of good and evil.
Yeah.
I think that for us, one of the things that we have to remember is it would have been so simple for us to just not have to know.
Yeah.
If we could have, as Cam was saying, if we could have just learned that it was okay to not know, and just because it looks good for fruit doesn't mean that I need it.
Right.
They didn't need it. They had abundance.
They had everything
Right.
else.
You can have, He kept nothing else from you. That one thing. And because that one thing was kept from you.
He blew it off.
It's curiosity to me.
But it's also because, as I said, she wasn't fully informed, because the instruction was don't eat it. What she was told was don't eat it and don't touch it. And that's where the error was.
And
That's how he was like, you don't know it, but I do. I know what he was told.
Mm-hmm.
He was told don't eat it. And so he says, well, you won't die if you do that. God just knows you'll be like him.
Yeah, once you know she'll be like him, that's why Adam killed Sophia, because he's like, you know too much now. You gotta.
Because now you're like me.
You gotta get waxed now.
I mean, how many people, I hate to say this, but, I watch a lot of true crime stuff, too. I mean, how many people have died just because,
You know too much.
the murderer didn't cover their face?
Yeah, you know too much.
what you see.
I ain't seen nothing.
You know too much.
And that's when you holler. And
I
Terrence,
don't know where we at.
Terrence, I didn't know that was you killing her. What?
But that's the
Yeah.
whole idea of knowing too much and wisdom, and even wisdom is also not just the knowledge, but also self-awareness.
And applicate.
The idea of the mirror, right?
Right.
And being aware of what you look like,
Ego.
and ego, and body image, and all the things that make you compare yourself to everybody else is also part of the downside of that. It's not just, oh, now I know a lot of stuff. It's the awareness of self-worth as well, too.
But also that everything around you is a reflection of you, right?
Yeah.
Like I resonated with the part of her being confused and upset about why she was lying and all that. So just that everything that we see is reflecting back to us the parts of us that we don't like, much. And Adam was seeing everything in these women, these wives that he didn't like about himself. And so he
Often.
choked her. Her eyes came out of her head. Like that was, last 3 minutes were a little
We're having,
Rough.
We're gory.
They were.
Would you gift this book to somebody else? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Sean, you?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Cameron?
It would depend on who, but yes.
Kelly?
The right person, yeah.
I would give it to someone who I know would be able to handle the truth.
I would want to give it to someone that doesn't want to handle the truth.
Wow.
Shake them up.
Shake 'em
Yeah.
up a little
I
bit.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why would everyone feel like they'd want to give it to someone that just is gonna accept?
It's not that for me.
I think the potential, and this is going back to what I do and I know, that I think it would be tremendously, as Kelly indicated, when we started, I think it would be very triggering,
Yeah.
especially for people who are in chaos or in crisis and have a lot of unresolved trauma.
Gotcha. So more someone that's not in a place in life to be able to receive the curious wisdom. Or whatever.
Yeah, and
Right, I would give it to somebody who's already curious, already
Right.
Somebody's question.
because I was thinking spiritually, there's people that are just going to be offended by the fact that you're challenging the idea of good and evil in the creation story, and that it's not just a hard lesson that we know. A lot of people, that turns out that offends a lot of people. I think these conversations, actually, in my opinion, make all of it make more sense. Actually, the fact that people are nuanced and flawed, and that it's not this like clear-cut vision where you're told to be a way, but there's a conflict there because we're living in conflict internally all the time. But a lot of people having to question faith scares people.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Questions
terrifies
in
them.
faith is scary. And most people would rather just accept some folklore and just stick with it.
Just tell me what to believe.
And this book definitely challenges the old folklore with new folklore. So, I mean, I would give it to everybody and just hope for the best.
Right, exactly.
I'd say this though too. Why I can explain why I said it was triggering. So I've actually been in a psychologically abusive relationship. So that's why I'm like, this is triggering. And this is, even though it's a healed space for me, it's still like, I know what this is. I know where this is going, and I don't like this.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if you see that in somebody else, you're like, this might not be time. And once you look past that, I might give you this book.
And that's the part for me. It's about timing, because I think that God permits the opportunity for all things, but I don't believe that all things are permissive until time.
Right.
So there's some spaces that are open and available, but people walk by them all the time because they can't see it yet. And so I think giving a book like this to someone who is not in that space of thinking or being open to think, it could become a deterrent it can become a deterrent, or it can become something that is used negatively. So I think knowledge is a weapon. Knowledge is a weapon, and it's also a tool. And the hand it goes in is going to dictate how it's utilized. And anytime you're dealing with fiction, especially historically based fiction, you create an opportunity for a mighty weapon that could be a mighty tool, but out of timing, that thing can go left.
Real fast. It can go left really fast. I was just sitting here thinking, there's also a book in the Song of Solomon. There's a verse that says, "Don't awaken love before it's time." Timing is essential for everything. Two things that are essential: wisdom and timing.
It makes me want to read Song of Solomon over, because I haven't for a long time.
Daughters of Jerusalem do not arouse or awaken love until it so desires. Yeah.
It's like, it's not time.
One of my
Don't do
favorite.
this yet.
You got some love songs of Song of Solomon. I need to go tap it into a mixtape. Song of Solomon mixtape. Because I just thought it was so clever for her to quote Song of Solomon, which is the love story, when there's this dysfunctional. This is all about dysfunctional love, right? Last question: do you feel like this book sets up a platform for you to find empathy with all the main players, or do you feel like you're leaning towards one side? Like, is there empathy for Adam? Is there empathy for the serpent? Obviously, there's empathy for Sophia. Is there empathy for Eve? Like, there's all these players that you're not really sure how you're settled with. What's your feeling about all of them?
I definitely took this perspective as Watu the Watcher from Marvel. I felt like I was watching an episodic story from the outside, not siding with anyone particularly. Now, I got my thoughts about Adam, but I do not demonize Adam. So I think I took a position of watching it very unbiasedly, and being a bystander, witnessing the narrative.
That's good. But that's how I felt about the serpent this time. I mean, it's easy to be like, well, you're the tempter. You're the one you're the person, the antagonist that sets off the event. But there was this part of me this time reading where I was like, but is the messenger that's trying to save the woman the worst? Can you not find empathy with the only person that's bold enough to say, hey, you in danger, girl. Like, and I'm being super controversial by saying this, but that's why I'm asking about empathy, is that if the whole idea that everyone in this gay community knows and is too chicken or too afraid to fully say, you got to get out of here, and she finally makes it to the gate, and he's like, all right, let me just tell you what it really is. And gave the chance, like, if you want, you can just not know. But if you say you want to know, I'll tell you, but you're not, it's going to be really messed up for you. Then I was like, I said, there's some understanding there. And by the way, there's several other kinds of religions that don't demonize the serpent, a snake, the whole thing, the way that Christianity does. So it's fair to, you know what I'm saying, not just look at it as, you're dark, you're the devil. And I definitely saw it differently this time. I saw there being some allyship as opposed to just, you're there waiting for someone to come in so you can screw the whole thing up for everybody. That the serpent becomes the spokesperson for all of creation that knows what's been happening over and over and over again and needs a change. That was an interesting kind of challenge for me.
Well, and Sophia didn't want to die. She wanted to, she practically begged for her life, right? So she's the victim, but at the same time, I'm always going to be for the ladies. And so just to see, talk about empathy for different people. Obviously, you have empathy for Sophia, but it didn't make me have any empathy more so for the male perspective.
I mean, the empathy that I have for Adam is the fact that, to some degree, and this is just my opinion, I feel like his father helped make him that way. I don't feel like he was just that way on its own. I feel like there was this tag team that of events with him and his father that led to him being that way in general. So see that? I have a little empathy for him.
That's the part that I think that's good, because the missing link is the father's role, the enabling role in it all, and how much that plays.
Because if a kid is a spoiled child, who's responsible, the kid or the parent?
How many women you gonna give him that? Like how many shots?
Because if he'd have said love the one you with, it wouldn't have been no story.
See, the problem was the songs wasn't written yet. See, Adam needed the sound.
He needed a sound. He needed a Louis York production.
There you go. That's what was necessary.
That's what was missing.
No, because he could definitely put his foot down. Like, listen, you're getting one, and if you screw it up, then too bad.
See, if he'd have heard love take over, we wouldn't have this.
We wouldn't have this problem. What about you guys over here on this side of the wise table?
Do I have empathy?
I'm challenging everyone with empathy right now.
Empathy. This is gonna sound so cold. If I were to say I was empathetic to anyone, it would be Sophia. But I have zero. I can have sympathy and I can have compassion, but to be empathetic, not so much. The only reason why is
not even with Sophia.
I could if I have empathy, it's because she was the only one that was wholly unaware of what was going to happen to her.
Okay.
Everybody else knew. So even I can disagree with you on was the snake trying to help her? Was he really saying, Molly, you're in danger? No, he was actually pushing her toward that end, just to see what would happen next. In my opinion. Yeah. Adam, you knew you were going to kill him. I want to tell you when Adam knew that he was going to kill her. When he got fire hot during that play and he went down there and he talked to him, like he knew that was going to happen then because he was literally like, she already knows too much.
Yeah, she knows too much.
And it was sealed when he told her, you stay as long as you want. I won't be home tonight. Right. Have as much to drink as you want. Eat whatever you want. Because remember, he actually will control. Yeah, he literally gave her that's what it was.
He was going to dust her when he got back.
Yeah,
if you want a nice Chianti, have it. Whatever you want. Have the most decadent piece of chocolate cake you can imagine. Have whatever you want because it's going to be your last.
Yeah.
Right? Of course, I could care less about the animals because
They were definitely
Shady.
and spiteful
Especially
and
that
everything
line.
else
Yeah.
the entire time. So what
Especially
I
that
know
line.
is if I had empathy, it's definitively for Sophia because she was the only one unaware. And I know what it's like to go into something with bright eyes.
Yeah.
And you're actually the butt of a joke that you don't even know is happening. But all of these other players are fully aware of what's going to happen. They knew what they knew. All of them knew.
Sophia left her mark too. She dug those nails into.
Yeah,
she
she
said,
dug
"Y'all
the
gonna
nails
remember
in.
me.
Remember me.
Y'all gonna know I was here."
That's what Epi do.
This is going to sound crazy, but I have empathy for God.
Okay.
And that's because I'm a parent.
Mm.
And when you are a parent and you parent children and you watch them grow up and you watch them make mistakes and go through some hard times that are, gut-wrenching and heartbreaking, you develop that kind of empathy. So I don't think God really had a grip on how far to Chuck's point, how far he had let Adam sort of run amok.
That's good. God deserves some grace too.
Yeah, he does. And
This is really my first kid, y'all.
He had never parented before. I never realized that.
That's good.
That's so good. That's a great point. He's like, I'm just trying to figure it out.
Trial and error,
He
child.
wants toys. I went back to Toys R Us. I got another one. He keeps breaking them. I got another. I don't know what to do.
Listen, Cam's met my my children, and one's 22 and one's about to be 20. My son is
Pastor.
great. My daughter is supreme perfection in a way that her brother could never imagine being. Not because she's a better kid, but because
She's mastered all his tricks.
Okay.
she saw what happened with certain things. She was like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna make those mistakes."
Yeah. Yeah. But that's why they say that by the time you're a grandparents treat the grandkids totally different because you've been through.
So let me pose this question to her point, because we're giving God grace, because I just now realized that this was God's first child. He had never done this. But what do y'all think about the fact that he sent his second son to save the first one?
And all the rest, and all his nieces and nephews too.
Is God even a good parent? I'm starting to question.
Said he's a good father.
He pays his child support.
Because the second Adam's whole purpose was to come
That
get
ain't
that
it.
first
That
Adam
ain't
together.
That ain't enough.
He paid it all. That's a good place to table it, because I think what makes this book great, and what makes books that we do in Tiny Book great in general, are that they kind of spur never-ending conversation. I've learned so much that I did not think about. Even I haven't read it 2 or 3 times, and I like that we're taking some twists and some turns, going a little darker sometimes and a little less conventional. You guys made this book so much more complex.
Right.
I gotta go pray.
I gotta read it again. Pray.
You gotta go pray.
Right. I gotta do some homework. I definitely want some mythology
Me
recommendations.
too. That's so good.
Kelly, because I love Greek mythology, but I just want to deep dive Lilith and some of that biblical history.
Do anybody know anything about the author?
she's won a lot of awards. I read
she
her
looked crazy
little
to me.
author biography, and she must be all kind of brilliant, because I don't know how you would keep all the moving pieces. It was like watching Bitcoin going up and down.
Yeah.
When was this book written? I didn't even look at that.
2021.
I
During the
suspected it
pandemic,
was
my God.
Yeah,
recent.
Had way too much time to think.
Right, she had too much time.
That's why the language is like it is.
Exactly.
What we'll do is we'll put a.
She lives on an island in Maine. I thought that was
See?
Yeah.
Long time to think. I was gonna say what we'll do is
Crazy.
when we post it, we'll put a link to buy the book, obviously, and a link to all the rest of her books, so that we can, but everyone else who's checking out the episode can find out more information about Catherynn Valente, who is the author of this incredible novella, Come From Me with Apples, which has now been, I think, a really, really good Tiny Book Club edition.
I agree.
So I just want to, first of all, thank you all for coming poolside.
Poolside. Woo.
Poolside. I'm stuffed.
I'm so
Thanks
stuffed.
for the kickback.
They real good.
We ate really good.
Very good.
Thank you.
Very good.
We talked
you,
really
Chef.
good. Thank you, Chef. And until the next time, keep reading, keep being good to each other. Let's stay connected.
Yes.
See y'all soon.
Yes,
See
absolutely.
y'all soon. See y'all soon. See y'all soon. It's been a good tiny book club, y'all. Peace.